Hi, it's Vernon again. Today I'm going to share 5 things you must never do in your attempt to please a woman. Not because you shouldn't care about her happiness, but because these behaviors actually destroy the very foundation that makes genuine happiness possible. You see, trying too hard to make her happy can actually backfire, costing you respect, energy, and even your sense of self. Being a good partner doesn't mean losing yourself. It means knowing your worth, setting boundaries, and understanding what truly matters in a relationship. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because the insights I'm about to share could save you years of emotional stress. Let's get started with the first thing you should never do. Number 1. Never abandon your core identity. Your core identity, your values, beliefs, passions, and principles, is the foundation of who you are. When you start bending, compromising, or pretending to be someone you're not just to please a woman, you're slowly eroding that foundation. It's one thing to be flexible and considerate in a relationship, but it's another to lose sight of what makes you authentically you. Giving up your hobbies, pretending to like things you don't, or constantly suppressing your opinions might make her happy in the short term, but it comes at the cost of self-respect, confidence, and long-term attraction. Dr. Kristen Neff's research on authentic self-expression shows that when we abandon our core identity to please others, we not only lose ourselves, we actually become less attractive to the very people we're trying to impress. Authenticity triggers what psychologists call the attraction of the genuine. People are drawn to those who are comfortable in their own skin. The truth is, a woman who genuinely values you isn't impressed by a version of yourself you've edited to fit her expectations. She wants the real you, the man with his own opinions, passions, and quirks, not a diluted copy designed just to gain her approval. Staying true to yourself doesn't just preserve your self-respect. It also naturally attracts the kind of admiration and deep emotional connection that can't be forced or faked. When you honor who you are at your core, you set the standard for the relationship, showing that mutual respect and authenticity are non-negotiable. And that's far more powerful than any attempt at people-pleasing. But too often, we were taught that love is synonymous with endless sacrifice, that being a good man means constantly putting others' preferences before our own. The reality is far more nuanced. True, healthy love doesn't ask you to dilute yourself or perform a version of who you think she wants. It requires you to bring your full, authentic self into the relationship. The version of you that is genuine, confident, and whole. Only then can respect, trust, and deep emotional connection truly flourish. The solution isn't about shutting yourself off, becoming rigid, or refusing to evolve. Growth is essential, but the key is to differentiate between changes that genuinely enhance who you are and compromises that slowly erase your essence. You can explore new interests, adapt to circumstances, and be considerate of her preferences, all without sacrificing the core of your identity. Honoring your own nature while being open to growth allows the relationship to thrive on authenticity rather than pretense, creating a dynamic where both partners can evolve without losing themselves. Remember, she fell for you, not for some other person you think you should become. Trust in the value of your authentic self. It's the foundation upon which all genuine attraction is built. This principle of authenticity connects directly to our next crucial insight. Because when you abandon your identity, you also abandon your emotional boundaries. Number 2. Never become her emotional dumping ground. This abandonment of self often leads to a pattern I witnessed with my neighbor's brother, Michael, that illustrates the second critical mistake: becoming a woman's emotional dumping ground. Michael, a 59-year-old accountant, prided himself on being a good listener. When he began dating Susan, he genuinely wanted to support her through the various challenges in her life. But gradually, Michael's role in the relationship became that of an unpaid therapist. Susan would call him every day to vent about her job frustrations, family dramas, and various disappointments. Michael would listen patiently, offer advice, and provide emotional support, believing this was what a caring partner should do. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught us, "You are not responsible for what happens to you, but you are responsible for how you respond to what happens to you." Michael had forgotten this wisdom. He was taking responsibility not just for his own emotional state, but for Susan's as well. What Michael didn't realize was that by always being available to absorb Susan's negative emotions, he was actually enabling her emotional dysfunction rather than supporting her growth. More importantly, he was allowing himself to become a container of toxicity rather than a partner in a balanced relationship. Dr. Henry Cloud's research on boundaries shows that when one person consistently takes on the emotional burdens of another without reciprocity, it creates what psychologists call codependency, a relationship dynamic that ultimately serves no one. The person dumping their emotions doesn't learn to manage them effectively, and the person receiving them becomes emotionally drained and resentful. When a woman shares her emotional struggles, our instinct is to fix them or absorb them. We confuse emotional dumping with emotional intimacy, and we mistake being used as being needed. The difference is crucial. Emotional intimacy involves mutual sharing, vulnerability, and support. Emotional dumping is one-sided, draining, and often becomes a substitute for taking personal responsibility. A healthy woman shares her feelings with you. An unhealthy one uses you as a repository for her unprocessed emotions. The solution requires what I call compassionate boundaries. You can care about her struggles without becoming responsible for managing her emotional state. You can listen with empathy without becoming her personal crisis counselor. Most importantly, you can support her in finding healthy ways to process her emotions, rather than simply absorbing them yourself. Have you ever noticed moments where your kindness was taken for granted? Drop a comment below and share your experience. I'd love to hear your thoughts and start a conversation that could help others recognize these patterns too. True support sometimes means refusing to enable dysfunction, even when that refusal is initially met with guilt or resistance. Understanding this emotional boundary connects to our next insight, because when you become someone's emotional dumping ground, you often sacrifice other important relationships in the process. Number 3. Never sacrifice your other relationships. Friends, family, mentors, and even professional connections are pillars that support your growth, perspective, and well-being. When you start neglecting these relationships to cater to her every demand, you're not showing love, you're losing yourself. A woman who truly values you will respect your commitments, your friendships, and even the people who help shape the man you are. Dr. Robin Dunbar's research on social networks shows that healthy individuals maintain approximately 150 meaningful social connections, with about 5 intimate relationships, 15 close friends, and 50 good friends. When someone pressures you to abandon these connections for an exclusive focus on them, they're asking you to become psychologically unhealthy. Remember how we discussed never abandoning your core identity? Your relationships with friends, family, and community are part of that core identity. And remember the emotional dumping ground pattern. When you have no other relationships, you become even more susceptible to being used as someone's sole source of emotional support. A woman who genuinely values you understands that your life extends beyond the two of you. She respects your commitments, honors your friendships, and even celebrates the people and experiences that have shaped the man she's chosen to be with. True respect isn't just about showing up when it's convenient for her. It's about acknowledging that your time, energy, and connections with others are essential to who you are. If she constantly pressures you to cancel plans with your friends, skip family gatherings, or distance yourself from mentors or colleagues, take it seriously. This isn't occasional jealousy or concern. It's a pattern of control disguised as emotional neediness. By trying to isolate you from your support network, she's not nurturing the relationship. She's attempting to make you dependent, limiting your perspective, and gradually eroding the foundation of your independence. The solution lies in what I call relationship balance setting. Make it clear that your love and commitment to her do not come at the expense of your other meaningful connections. You can be fully present with her while still nurturing friendships, family ties, and mentors who keep you grounded. By maintaining these relationships, you not only preserve your identity and emotional strength, but you also model a healthy, mature love, one where both partners can thrive without isolating each other from the world around them. The solution requires what I call relationship integration. A healthy partner wants to be added to your life, not to replace your life. She should enhance your existing relationships, not eliminate them. Any woman who asks you to choose between her and everyone else is revealing her own insecurity and emotional immaturity. Your friendships, family relationships, and community connections aren't obstacles to romance. They're proof that you're a man worth knowing. Protect them accordingly, because they provide perspective, support, and joy that no single relationship can provide. And once you understand the importance of protecting these relationships, the next step is recognizing when your generosity is being manipulated, a pattern that quietly drains your energy and self-respect. Number 4. Never apologize for your natural instincts. As men, we are wired with instincts, protective, decisive, and discerning. These instincts are not flaws, they are essential parts of who we are. Yet, in relationships, some women may try to make you feel guilty for acting in alignment with your nature. They might criticize your caution, question your decisiveness, or belittle your protective tendencies as overbearing. The truth is, honoring your instincts doesn't make you controlling, domineering, or harsh. It makes you self-aware, grounded, and aligned with who you truly are. These natural inclinations are the compass that guides your decisions, your actions, and the way you navigate the world. When you apologize for them, you send a subtle message that your instincts are negotiable, that your sense of judgment can be overridden, and that the very traits that define your character are open to criticism. Over time, this not only erodes your confidence, but chips away at your sense of self, teaching others that it's acceptable to dismiss the qualities that make you whole. A woman who genuinely respects you will not ask you to apologize for being decisive, protective, or principled. She will understand that these instincts are not flaws to be corrected. They are essential threads in the fabric of the man she chose. Recognizing and honoring them is not just an act of self-preservation. It is the foundation of any relationship built on authenticity, respect, and mutual understanding. We live in a time when masculine traits are often criticized or pathologized. We're told that being decisive is being controlling, that being protective is being possessive, that being strong is being insensitive. This creates a double bind. We're criticized for being too masculine, but often lose attraction when we become too passive. Healthy masculinity is not about domination, aggression, or asserting power over others. True masculine strength is measured not by how forceful you can be, but how responsibly you wield it, using your abilities, judgment, and energy in service of those you care about. It's the protectiveness that creates a sense of safety without turning into control or confinement. The guidance that elevates others rather than diminishes them. And the leadership that inspires trust and integrity rather than fear or obedience. Being a man in this way doesn't require abandoning empathy or self-awareness. In fact, it enhances them. It's about balance, combining confidence with humility, decisiveness with compassion, and courage with integrity. When you honor this kind of masculinity, you live authentically, act with purpose, and create relationships that thrive on mutual respect rather than imbalance. The solution requires what I call confident masculinity, being proud of your natural masculine traits while expressing them in mature, thoughtful ways. Don't apologize for being a man, but be the best version of a man you can be. Any woman who asks you to suppress your fundamental nature rather than refine it is revealing her own discomfort with healthy masculine-feminine dynamics. What do you think about honoring your natural instincts in a relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your experiences. And don't forget to save this video so you can reflect on it later when you need a reminder to stay true to yourself. Because when you apologize for who you are, you often fall into the trap of seeking validation from the wrong sources.
Number 5. Never make her your only source of validation. The ancient Stoic philosophers taught us about the importance of what they called internal locus of control, deriving your sense of worth from your own character and actions rather than from external approval. This pattern is what psychologists call external validation dependence, and its relationship poison. After decades of deriving much of our identity from our roles as providers and protectors, retirement or life changes can leave us feeling uncertain about our value. In this vulnerable state, we may unconsciously seek validation from romantic partners, giving them power they never asked for and don't want. When you rely on someone else as your only source of validation, you start trading pieces of yourself for fleeting approval. You risk losing the very qualities that make you who you are, your identity, your boundaries, your friendships, and even your instincts. Over time, this pattern turns you into a shadow of yourself, bending constantly to meet someone else's expectations, while your own needs, desires, and growth take a back seat. It's not love, it's self-erasure disguised as devotion. A woman who is truly healthy emotionally doesn't treat your worth as something she must define or validate. She appreciates a man who stands firmly in his own value, who carries confidence without needing constant reassurance. Her role is to complement your life, not to be the gatekeeper of your happiness or the sole arbiter of your achievements. She celebrates your victories, supports your growth, and adds joy to your journey, without ever demanding that you shrink yourself to fit her expectations. The solution requires rebuilding what I call internal validation systems. Your worth must be grounded in your character, your values, the contributions you make to the world, and your relationship with yourself and your higher purpose. A romantic partner should enhance this sense of worth, not create it. When your sense of worth comes from a variety of sources, your integrity, your friendships, the value you add through your work or contributions, your spiritual practices, and your ongoing personal growth, you cultivate what I call attractive independence. You're a man who can love without clinging, engage in a partnership without neediness, and share your life without compromising your essence. This independence doesn't create distance. It creates respect, magnetism, and the kind of connection that is rooted in mutual admiration rather than dependency. You are not seeking someone to complete you. You are seeking someone to complement you. There's a profound difference, and understanding it changes everything.
Everything I've shared today isn't about becoming selfish, uncaring, or emotionally distant. It's about understanding that genuine love requires two whole people who choose each other from a place of strength rather than need, completeness rather than desperation. So never abandon your core identity. She fell for you, not for who you think you should become. Never become her emotional dumping ground. Support her growth. Don't enable her dysfunction. Never sacrifice your other relationships. Love should enhance your life, not replace it. Never apologize for your natural masculine instincts. Express them wisely, but never suppress them entirely. And never make her your only source of validation. Your worth must come from within. The ancient Greek philosopher Plato taught us that love is not about losing yourself in another person, but about each person becoming the best version of themselves through the relationship. This is the difference between codependency and authentic love. When you follow these principles, something remarkable happens. You become more attractive, not less. Women are drawn to men who have maintained their dignity, their boundaries, and their sense of self. They want partners, not projects. They want men, not boys seeking mothering. The goal isn't to be difficult or unavailable. It's to be authentically available from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. It's to offer love as a gift rather than seeking it as a rescue. If you've been making any of these mistakes, don't despair. Wisdom comes from recognizing our errors and having the courage to correct them. At our age, we have the advantage of experience, the blessing of perspective, and the freedom that comes from knowing who we are. If today's insights resonated with you, hit like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future wisdom. Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experiences might help another man recognize these patterns in his own life. You are not too old to change, too set in your ways to grow, or too experienced to learn new approaches to love. You are simply ready to love from wisdom rather than desperation, from strength rather than weakness.